Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you are doing well. We are back in Scrap Mechanic, and every time I play this game, I get a little bit more confused with my life. This game has been out for about a week now, and I've seen a fair few creations, and I've come to the conclusion that I am not very good at this game. People have made some amazing things. What have I done? I've made a door. A door. Terrible, terrible. So we're gonna try and do a little better today. But I actually had to start again with the world because my old world got a little bit laggy and I couldn't really get to the bottom of it. So we got this place. Started to make a little building. I think it looks pretty nice. Just playing around with a couple ideas. Tell me your thoughts. I like it myself. But what we're going to do today, guys, is we're going to try and make a catapult. We're going to make a catapult. And I think it's going to be pretty cool. So I've been playing around with it a little bit, trying to figure out, but there are still some problems that need to be solved. So if we come over here to this tree area, set up a little place. So the catapult is going to be on the tree, and I'll explain that in a moment. But first of all, we kind of need to get to grasp the idea of multiple bearinged objects. So, you know, a single bearing is easy enough to understand. It's just, you know, plop it down, have a couple things on there, and it spins in a single rotation. Easy enough. But when you start adding multiple bearings to an already spinning object, for example, if I add a couple blocks up here, like so, and then add a bearing onto it, like, you know, we could add one here, 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 and here, and then we could go even further and add a bearing onto this bearinged object, and eventually it starts getting a little bit confusing. Like, what on earth is going on here? That confuses the hell out of me. But it's something you need to understand because that's how all the cool stuff is being made by all the cool kids. But yeah, we are going to make a catapult today, and we've come over to this area because from my testing, stuff that is being slung around the place really quickly tends to get trapped into the earth and the ground and becomes unrecoverable. And we don't want that, so we kind of need a little bit of a high ground, and that is why we're going to be doing it on this tree up here, just for a little bit of ground. So, first of all, how is this going to work? So, we're going to have, basically, we're going to have a bearing on this object here, like so, and it's going to work something like this. So, first of all, actually, before we begin, let us place down this controller, just so that we can assign proper rotation so this thing doesn't go flying all the place. That's always nice. So that's how it is. So it's going to work something like this. So it's going to start here, and on the end of this there's going to be like a little cup thing that kind of slings it. If you can kind of see what I mean. Let's kind of visualize that with a button press. So if I just place a button here, hook this guy up like so, and if we go positive, I think it is. So if we go positive 180. Was it 180? I think that'll work. I think that'll work pretty nicely. And we press the button. It'll kind of be sling across the other way. You can kind of get the motion there. Pretty self-explanatory. But the problem is, if I do that again, is... Oops. The problem with it is that, as you can see... if you can see, it's not very fast. It's actually pretty slow. And I was trying to think of a solution to that. So in order to fix the speed issue, what we're going to do is we're going to use 2 bearings to speed up. So here's how it's going to work. We're going to have one bearing here, like usual, like so. But then we're going to add another bearing onto the bearinged object like that, and like so. Then we're going to hook all of this up with the thingamajiggies, and basically what should happen, so the first one should spin X degrees, but then, at the same time, the second one should also spin X degrees, which should make it faster, but we'll have to see. So that goes in the positive, but I think it might be negative, though. We'll have to have a look. Let's see. Okay, so if we go to the controller and go negative... No, negative. Negative. Let's go negative. Negative 90, negative 90, like so. Like that. That should do good. And also, if we add an actual line here, so something like this could do well. Let's give that a test. It's not going to work. Let's have a look. Nope, went the wrong way. The wrong way. That's so strange. Okay, positive 90 then. Positive 90 on this one, and then positive 90 on the other one. And what should happen is it should be flung really fast. Let's have a look. Yes, see that, if you can see, is actually quite a bit faster, I think, from the previous one. So now what we need to do is we need to add like a little basket, like a carrying bit to actually hold objects to be thrown. So nothing super duper complicated, just a basket if we can get it. So this should go about 7 out, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I don't know, I haven't actually tested if it works with the player. I assume it would work with the player, but I've yet to see. That could be kind of a fun little thing to try out. So we're going to go like this. Where'd that go? That was weird. Like so. Make a little base for it, like there. And there. And there. So this should work out, unless the rotations start getting messed up. So we're going to add a little bit of a lip to it, so that stuff doesn't just fall off, otherwise it might not work quite as we expect it to. Let's just go off this lift. I love this little lift, it's really handy. Let's use these, and to kind of just rotate them a little bit, like so, and like so. Add them here, like that. Can we get there? We can. Okay, so let's find out if it works with players, I guess. Can I reach that button from here, I wonder? Okay, so that launched me quite far, actually. That launched me quite far. Let's actually look at that, what it looks like from below. Let's turn it off. Flings back, like that. And that is pretty fast. That is pretty fast. But can we make it even faster? So naturally, you're wondering, what would happen if you added rockets? That is a great question. What would happen if we added rockets? So I don't actually think I've shown you rockets yet. Rockets are really cool, but they're also kind of dangerous to work with, because if you do something wrong, they just go flying off and you can never catch them. But we're going to try and make this faster with some rockets. So let me show you the rockets. Do we have any inventory? We don't. Let's just put some in there. Okay, so we're going to add some rockets to the base of the basket, like here. Let's add 4 actually, just to kind of be a bit dangerous. So what should happen is this should get boosted even faster, maybe? Let's have a look. Let's have a look. We have to hook it up to the button. So if we just do something like, I think the pink one's the button, like so, and like so on the other ones. Yeah, I don't think rockets can use the controller, but I haven't really looked at it for long enough to really know. Let's have a look. What happens when we press the button? Yep, that definitely is faster. Okay, that's cool. Look at that. Look at the force that has. This better be a powerful catapult. Let's have a look. Let's do it again. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. Let's test this out. Let's test this out with an object. Okay, so let's use like a tire. I will put it over here, I guess. Over here. And just let it go like so. So how far is this going to go? How far is this going to go? Place your bets, place your bets. Is it going to be blasted off the mountain? Is it going to be blasted off the mountain? I hope so. I hope so. Let's have a look. Yeah, I think it went off the mountain. I think it went off the mountain. Let's have a look. Yeah, it definitely went off the mountain. Where did it land? There, it's down there. Do you see that? That is a pretty strong catapult. That is a pretty strong catapult. Look, it went all that distance. Wow. Wow, that is a powerful catapult. Okay, now that's undeniably cool. That is undeniably cool. What happens when we launch a couple items? Does it get thrown the same velocity, or do they kind of like cancel out? Let's have a look. Let's launch a tire, and I'm not going to launch myself because I don't want to be launched off the mountain. If we add a tire here, like that, so that's good, and then we add, oopsie doodle, then we add like one of these pipes. Is that gonna, yeah, I'm very curious on that. Is it gonna launch as far or not? Because if you could have just like a load of stuff going at the same time, that could be pretty damn neat. Let us do something along the lines of this. Get rid of the support. Alright, let's have a look. Does this go even further? Does this go even further? Don't disappoint me, Catapult. Okay, oh, that works too. That's awesome. That is really awesome. But anyway, guys, I consider that a roaring success. This thing is powerful. This thing is really cool. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, a like is, of course, always much appreciated. Subscribe if you're not already. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.